Wow. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you very much. Really. Thank you. That was a little over the top. Carl, thank you for that introduction. I also want to thank the board of directors for organizing this event. And I want to commend my fellow speakers. Sister Constance, it is great seeing you again. In January, I invited Sister Constance and another sister from their order to attend the President's last State of the Union address. It was an honor to have them up in the balcony with us during the State of the Union address. We had a great time. Cardinal Sarah, it is an honor to meet you. It's also great to see our own bishop from the Madison Diocese, Robert Merlino. Bishop Merlino, great to see you as well. Thank you for being here. So when I was preparing for this morning and preparing my remarks, I had an idea. What if I gave an extended meditation on Thomas Aquinas' commentary on the sentences of Peter Lombard? My staff, they didn't like the idea, right? So yeah, I told my staff there might be some fans. They didn't like the idea. They thought, pretty heavy stuff for a 7 a.m. breakfast with, bacon and eggs. And I told them, I guess you're right. But then I went home, I thought it over, and then I proceeded to completely ignore their advice. So, Aquinas it is. If you will forgive the pun, I will try to put it in layman's terms. Aquinas once wrote, "It should be known that all right-thinking men," clearly he never ran for office. "It should be known that all right-thinking men make contemplation of God the end of human life." That is the purpose of human life. In other words, our purpose is to know God, period. Whatever your circumstances in life, rich or poor, strong or weak, famous or obscure, it is not faith that inspires you to work hard or to raise a family or to achieve your goals, though it very well might. Instead, faith is its own reward. The reason I bring this up is these days, religious liberty is under assault. A lot of people think that faith is just some odd, colorful mask for the ugly face of intolerance as it goes. Look, I'm not saying that we should feel put upon. I mean, saints were thrown to the lions. By that standard, we have it easy. What I am saying, though, is that we have an obligation to advocate for our faith. We should defend religious liberty not just on material grounds, that is, because people of faith do good things, they give to charity or they volunteer. We need to defend religious liberty on spiritual grounds, that is, because living out our faith gives us joy. What people of faith understand is there is more to life than what we can see and what we can hear. And there is nothing more life-changing than coming to know the Lord. Once you realize that there is a God, and He is good, and He loves you, not just humanity as a whole, but you, the person, you realize you're not alone. You're not just a body, you are body and soul. In life, it's not just a tale full of sound and fury signifying nothing. Life is full of meaning. That is why prayer is important. It's the hotline to heaven. And that is why we object when government restricts religious liberty. When faith is ruled out of bounds, then happiness itself is being placed out of reach. If you need an example, look no further than the Little Sisters of the Poor. I think we can all agree they are doing some of the most noble work out there. Yet, the administration has been trying to force them to offer benefits that violate their beliefs. The sisters have tried to negotiate with this administration, and frankly, its response has shown a total misunderstanding of faith. On their website, the sisters had this cartoon strip. I hope you go and check it out. They had this cartoon strip that illustrates this disagreement perfectly. A sister and a bureaucrat are seen debating the issue. The bureaucrat says, "You offer the stuff you object to in your plan, and we'll pay for it." The sister replies, "Our concern isn't the cost, but the morality." The bureaucrat says, No. We're offering to pay for it, so your conscience is clear." The sister responds in big, bold letters, "That's not the way it works." They should not have to participate in any way, even if it seems like a formality. But that's the problem. The administration seems to believe only in a material world, where the only stuff that matters is dollars and cents. That's a very cold, very unfeeling world to live in. That is not the kind of country that our Constitution envisions. That's why I and many of my House colleagues joined a friend of the court brief on behalf of the sisters' lawsuit against the federal government. And thankfully, even with a 4-4 court, thankfully we got some good news from the Supreme Court yesterday when it sent them packing and when it sent the case back to the lower courts. Thank God that that has happened. So clearly the court does not believe that the government has done a good enough job protecting religious liberty. That much is clear. And that's why we are calling on the administration to eliminate this burden once and for all. You know, this seems so obvious to so many of us that you might get a little discouraged. I mean, why are we even debating this issue? But I actually think that religious liberty is going to make a comeback because there is a growing need for faith in this nation. Let me just give you one example. Today, all across America, we spent our last week in the House on this issue. All across America, there is this opioid epidemic. And over the past 4 years, I have spent a lot of time in our cities and rural communities meeting with a lot of people struggling with addiction. Not everyone is the same, but a lot of what they will tell you is this. They feel a deep, gnawing pain inside. And the reason they turn to drugs is to escape that gnawing pain. Eventually, they realize that the only way to escape that pain is to turn to God. So, when I see people struggling with addiction, do they need the best medical care? Of course they do. Absolutely, yes. But a lot of them need something more. And for a lot of them, that pain stems from a loneliness, a feeling that no one loves them, that they don't matter. And it wasn't until you meet a person face to face that you realize that we all feel loneliness at some level. We all feel that distance from God. What is sin but a turning away from Him? We sometimes forget this because we're more comfortable. When you have a good-paying job or a happy family, it is tempting to think, I don't do drugs, I don't commit crimes, I don't have it as bad as other people, I'm a good person. That, of course, is the exact wrong way to think. The sin of pride. It reminds me of Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis. I have such a dog-eared, well-worn copy of this that I've been carrying in my briefcase for years. Uncle Screwtape is a demon. He is teaching a young devil how to turn a man to sin. At one point, Screwtape says, catch him at the moment when he is really poor in spirit and smuggle into his mind the gratifying reflection, by Jove, I'm being humble. If you ask me, Screwtape would make one heck of a good political consultant these days. The point is, I believe it was my faith that brought me to this realization. We are all sinners. We all need God. So it is not enough to create more jobs or to raise people's wages, though we should do that too, there is a spiritual void that needs to be filled. You know, perhaps poverty is God's way of leading us to contemplate something higher. The way I see it, the fight against poverty and the need for religious liberty go hand in hand. I'll close with this. When you meet people who have beaten addiction, most of them say something like this: "It wasn't me, it was God." They know the true source of their success. In their struggles, they have come to know Him, and they've come to find happiness. And now, we've come full circle. Every good work is the work of God. It is His grace working inside of us. And when you realize that, you not only lose your pride, you lose any sense of despair. That's the meaning of true happiness, at least in this world. It is not a cheap thrill or a temporary exuberance. It is a deep, abiding inner peace. And what gives us that peace is coming to know God. And thank heavens we have a nation dedicated to the proposition of liberty that protects this space for us to do this. What gives us peace is coming to know God. That's what I think Aquinas was saying. See? That wasn't so bad, was it? My friends, it is an honor to break bread with you. It is an honor to feast with you. It is an honor to pray with you. Please pray for me and for all of our elected officials that we may be instruments of God's will. Thank you very much, and God bless. Thank you. Thank you.